Hello there, and welcome to another video on my channel. I know it's been a while since the last upload, so please excuse my absence on the YouTube front. In the future I will try to upload videos more frequent, so without further ado, let's get started. So in this video I will be focusing on an interesting match I had quite recently in my Yamato. After some discussion with my viewers during one of my more recent streams, I was getting a lot of comments about Yamato's dispersion, feeling a bit wonky, especially at range. A little disclaimer, this is not going to be a game with an absurdly high damage number, however the latter half of the match will be quite interesting. There are three instances I want you to pay attention during this video: the bottom right flank, the key, and the sturdy or friendly submarine. These players will have a lot of impact on my decision making during this match. The Conqueror gets briefly spotted. I'm waiting for my guns to turn right now. And we take a shot. He looks fairly broadside, so I'm hoping for some good results, like an early strike. However, unfortunately, the Conqueror turns in, and our salvo misses completely. We are currently spotted, getting some light damage in from the Izumo. I'm aiming a bit lower since he's turning in. My intention there is to hit his bow because it's only 32mm, and the 460s of the Yami just overmatched it. I was hoping for a lucky strike, however we only get one overpen. Our guns have reloaded. We aim again for his bow, hoping dispersion will favor us this time. However, it's a complete dot. We get 0 hits. Izumo was probably reversing, so was aiming a bit too low and missed the strike there. We get set on fire. It's no biggie, it's a single fire. We will not be damage conning this. The Christopher got briefly spotted, however he smoked up, went dark again. I'm aiming for his last scene position, and luckily I get some shots in. This is 3k health, he's not gonna get back so fast. In the meantime, our team gets the first blood, which is awesome. However, we immediately lose 2 DDs, so it's kinda a bad trade. We are still on fire. I'm not gonna damage con a single fire, however, something hits us, I don't know what it was. We get a double fire and I damage con this, obviously. Christopher got briefly spotted again, however, not enough for me to actually do something against him, so we continue chugging along this flank. We are finally clearing this island, taking a shot at the Bismarck. I'm kind of grounding here, but I'm not in an immediate danger, so it's not a biggie. Our shells connect and we take out the Bismarck, which is our first kill of the game. The Izumo gets spotted again. We aim a bit behind him, cause he's reversing, hoping to maybe hit his bow. And for those who don't know, the special thing about the Yamato is, because of its 460mm guns, it has the unique feature of overmatch. Overmatch is when your shells are that big that you ignore certain armor threshold. For the Yamato it's very special because it ignores 32mm. There are not a lot of ships in the game that can actually do this. There's the Incomparable, the Shikishima, the Satsuma, but for now we're gonna focus on the Yamato. Just remember that most battleships only have a 32mm bow or upper deck, and the Yamato and these other ships are able to overmatch it. As already mentioned in the beginning of this video, I wanted you guys to take a look at our right flank. Unfortunately, our Alvaro de Bazan is gonna be taken out by the Conqueror. Because it was a ram, the Conqueror was flooding and he dies as well, which is kind of unique, because now there's no one on the right flank. Because of that unique circumstance, I can actually focus on my own flank and don't have to worry about any cross shots coming in from the right. Take another shot at the Izumo. Shells look kinda wonky again. Dispersion hasn't really favored me, so I'm starting to suspect that my fears are actually right, and yeah, it's not that great so far. We try our luck again at the Izumo, and we only get 2 torpedo protection hits. So far we have been quite unlucky with our shots. I mean, Izumo has been mostly bow in, and I think this is the first time where we actually get some damage in. He's fairly broadside. And finally we get a decent hit. Not all of that damage was done by me, however, we're finally getting some results, and Izumo gets taken out by the Yugomo. The Christopher gets spotted again. We take our shot. Dispersion looks good, and we finally take him out. This means we're now leading on 2 ships. The enemy team has only 2 destroyers left and a Kushiro. The cap circle in the middle will soon appear. Since this is an arms race battle, getting the cap circle is very important. You gain a lot of points by holding it, so who holds it has a massive advantage points wise. Additionally, I want to point out that the scores are reversed. This is a World of Warships replay, and this is a common bug that kinda happens quite a lot. We currently have 400 points and the enemy team has 280. Even though it looks like we are losing, we are actually winning. At this point I'm kinda realizing that we are out of destroyers. We only have our submarine, and unfortunately he decided to chase down the Kushiro. Because of that, I decide to push into A. I have no other choice. Our key is ignoring the cap, and our friendly Lepanto is not doing so good health-wise. My decision here is to try and support him. I know there are 2 destroyers in the cap, which is quite a big risk in a Yamato. However, chasing after Kushiro is not something that will benefit us. Unfortunately, our sturdy has made up his mind. He is gonna chase the Kushiro for the rest of the game, and will absolutely accomplish nothing. I take another shot at the Kushiro, first with my AB turret. The rear turret swings around, I'll take the shot as well. Unfortunately, dispersion trolls us, and we're not gonna hit him again. Meanwhile, our Lepanto gets taken out, which means we're now even on ships. Pretty bad. Him dying solidifies my decision to actually push into A, and I'm hoping for some help of the key. However, the key has other plans, which means I will have to cap alone. Fast forward a bit, I decide to switch to HE. I now have no other chance of winning this game, except for taking out the enemy destroyers. We spot some Shimakaze torpedoes, but luckily we are able to evade those. I decide to pop my spotter plane. At this point I had a feeling that the Shimakaze might be hanging around the island. I have no other possibility to get into the cap except for going around us, and by popping the spotter plane I want to make sure that he's not hanging around there. Again, we spot some torpedoes. Sadly we cannot dodge those. The Yamato is not really known for its maneuverability. I managed to take them on the belt. Yamato has amazing torpedo protection. By doing this, I minimize the damage that I would normally take. Taking torpedoes on a bow does more damage, however, it is not citadel damage, it is calculated as pen damage. So by doing that, I'm kind of speculating on the heal buff, mitigating the total damage I would have taken in that case. I finally enter the cap. It is obviously contested, probably by Shima and Tashkent.
Torpedoes, direct front.
So right now I'm just trying to push in further, evade more torpedoes. Again, I can dodge those. Yamato is not maneuverable at all. Take them on the belt again, mitigate damage. I would normally not advise you to do that. However, we have 3 heal buffs. So while we're taking basically citadel damage, the heal buff is enough to mitigate the total damage we would have taken. While my hunt for the Shimakaze continues, I want to point something. Rather interesting about my commander build. Some of you might have noticed that my secondary gun range is a bit, let's say, increased. The Tashkent gets spotted. Apparently I was not hunting the Shima, I was hunting the Tashkent. He goes dark, but I managed to take him out with a rather accurate blind fire shot. How unlucky for him. Anyway, back to my gun range. So, some of you guys might remember the experimental ship thing. Well, my commander was still trained for the experimental secondary Japanese ship. I don't remember the name right now, but it is not important. While entering this battle, I didn't notice that this was still my secondary spec captain. And yeah, let's just see how this unfolds. The Shimakaze gets briefly spotted, and out of habit, I immediately train my manual secondaries on him. Again, I was not realizing that I had my secondary commander on him. He torps me, obviously. I take another one on the belt, mitigate as much damage as I possibly can, and letting the passive healing from the arms race kind of repairing my ship. I continue barreling down the Shimakaze, he gets spotted again, secondaries fire. I also fire with my main guns on him, and will I get lucky? Yes. We get a rather big hit into him. He's now at half health. I continue chasing him.
Torpedoes, dead ahead.
He torps me again, however I managed to avoid it. Secondaries still keep firing, and they are doing massive damage to him. Secondaries go. Come on. Oh, he goes dark. However, I still got secondaries in the air, and we managed to take him out with a close quarters expert. We are now at 4 kills. The Kashira is back in range, still being chased by the Sturdy. So far he accomplished nothing. Didn't hit any of his torps. Doesn't matter, we hit him again for a huge salvo. I wish I had AP loaded there, but I was not paying enough attention to switch back to the AP. We're finally taking this cap. The Kia has returned, helping me capping it faster. I slam on the brakes, I turn in, and that's basically it. So I will skip ahead to the end of this game because there's not a lot more that happens. We get the cap, Kushira gets away unfortunately, and we miss out on our Kraken. However, in my opinion, it was way more important to just get the cap, secure it, get us the win, and yeah, not win any harder. Lastly, some thoughts about the Yamato and this particular battle in general. I noticed the Yamato is struggling a lot with its long-range dispersion, which was evident by all the missed shots against Izumo. However, as we got closer, our shots got a lot more consistent. Personally, I remember the Yamato's dispersion to be a lot more accurate, like back in the day. But if I remember correctly, Wargaming nerfed its legendary mod a few years ago and made it a bit less consistent at range. I'm fine with the way it is right now, because otherwise it would promote a more passive sniping meta, which we already see in a lot of the matches in 2025. However, this makes it a bit more tough to play outside of a well-coordinated division. So, here we are in port with our trusty old Yamato. Let's get into the commander build. So this was the build I was running originally. It is a secondary build. It was made for the Hotaka and I didn't notice while entering battle. Just to explain some things, this increases your secondary battery firing range and this the accuracy. It wasn't basically a full secondary build and I would not advise you to take it. However, if you want to do it for the memes, go something like this. This gives you more heals, this helps with you catching fires, so you don't catch them as often, and this helps with dispersion and this with range. Normally I would run a more optimized build, something like this. This gives us a bit more survivability and helps with our concealment. You can also get rid of Concealment Expert and go for Furious, so you get a better reload as soon as you're catching fires, but either way is fine. Either go Furious or Concealment Expert. For the upgrades, I was running main armaments, damage con, aiming systems mod 1, steering gears mod. This helps with our rudder shift, which is quite sluggish. Concealment system, because what else should you choose? This is the best basically for every build. And there you have two choices. I was running main battery mode 3 for better reload. You can also go main battery director system. This helps with your shell dispersion. However, at the time of recording, I didn't have that one unlocked yet. It is a bit expensive, you need research points, but I will definitely revisit a build like this in the future. If you wanted to go full secondaries, you can throw out aiming systems and go secondary battery mod, but I would strongly advise you not to do that. Yamato already struggles with its dispersion a bit, so always go aiming systems. Flags wise, I was running the Charlie Kilo for more health, the India Yankee for shorter fire duration, same with floodings, ram flag, you can take it or not, this is up to you. You can run the secondary flag, this gives you just a bit more range and dispersion. It's not a lot, but I mean, if you have the flags, go for it, and if not, it doesn't matter. I would take speed flag, because Yamato is not so fast. Without speed flag, we are at only 27 knots. It is not a must, but I would recommend it. Also, the November Foxtrot helps with our heal and spotting aircraft cooldown. I think also with the damage con, not quite sure. And lastly, the India Delta. This is a must-have because it gives you a lot more HP to regain through your heals. I would always advise you to run this on a battleship. So, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm still new to video editing in general, but I'm learning a lot as I upload more videos, and I would definitely restructure some things in the future, so I hope you guys don't mind. Would greatly appreciate if you would follow me on Twitch. My schedule is on the right, and I hope to see you there. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you on the next video. Promise.